so that's pretty good. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Jesse with 10 Back Bowling. Today we bring you the Brunswick Rhino Teal. So I just got this ball in my bag. I'm very interested to see how it's going to roll here at the center that we're at. I've thrown this at 2 other centers for probably a total of 8 games, and one center was a little bit more high friction. The ball is very early and very forward, so didn't necessarily perform too well. The other center, a little bit higher volume. The bowling ball was able to store energy for the back, so I'm interested to see how it's going to perform here at this center that we're at. So let's take it out to the lengths, and then we'll recap at the end and see what we like. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Okay, as always, we're going to start up the track area here. All right, so not a bad little start. This is a bowling ball. So far, from what I've quickly come to realize about it, is it's something that I can definitely keep in front of me. Not overly sensitive to the friction. So I think in today's video, I think it's going to perform much better being further right. Yeah, so you can definitely see the bowling ball is definitely really forward. Even on the ones that I've kind of got my hand around, the ball isn't necessarily going sideways down the lane. Yeah, that was pretty good. So I kind of got to find, that balance, with my hand and speed here in this part of the lane. Not enough hand. The ball, you can see, gets really forward. It isn't going to get through the pins. But as long as I match up my speed and revolutions on the ball appropriately, as you can see there, the ball looks pretty good. It's close. So I'm going to make a jump left here. Get more into a little bit more of my comfort area. I'm going to try to keep the same hand position. Stay a little bit firmer up the back of the ball to start. We'll see how it rolls, and then we'll go ahead and start making or creating a little bit more rotation on the ball. So much better, getting a little bit away from the friction. So naturally for me, that's usually a better area to be. So definitely a much better area. You can see the ball, it needs oil in the fronts to be able to store enough energy down lane. I think being as far right as I was, the bowling ball for me is just very conditional. Yeah, so you can see, the bowling ball is really smooth. When it sees the dry part of the lane, it's not going to be one of those bowling balls that, immediately turns left on you. It's something that, for me, I've been able to keep in front of me, which, more often than not is a good thing. Especially because, the more we open our angles, the larger the margin for error is. Yeah, so this is definitely the area of the lane that the bowling ball wants to be in. As you can see, I even missed in a little bit on that one. The ball is still able to stay in the oil, get down the lane, turn the corner and finish to the pins. So as you can see here, bowling ball is super low flaring. I also have a belt mark from the ball getting stuck back there just a minute ago. Oh, I got around that one. Yeah, so, this is, I think, one of those bowling balls that for me, I don't see this type of motion very often. It's a very controllable piece. Okay, so as you can tell, when I've played, far right up the track area, kind of rolling up the back of the bowling ball, it's very conditional for me. If I rolled up too much the back of it, it's very forward, so I wasn't able to even get close to getting to the pocket. If I got around a little bit too much, then it would, pick up too early and go through the nose or even Brooklyn. As I made that jump to the left a little bit, more into my comfort zone, and I think where the ball's comfort zone is on this house shot, it looked much better. You can see the ball is early, and it is a little bit more forward, so it does need, oil, and I think that in this zone specifically, it looks really good because it's able to store energy, and you can see that the bowling ball is definitely rounder in shape down lane. It's not one of those balls that's going to be super angular, and I think for me, I like to see that type of shape. I don't like to see stuff that's typically super angular down lane. It gets me into a lot of trouble with splits, and it makes just really for a tough day of bowling when you got to open up your angles and you're dealing with an extremely sharp entry angle to the pocket. So I think as we move a little bit further left for this Rhino, I think it might struggle a little bit. So I'm interested to see what it's going to do right now. So we're going to make one more jump left, open the lane up, and we'll see if this kind of early rolling, more forward ball is able to turn the corner. All right, so not terrible. I'm backing off on my speed, getting around the ball a little bit more in this area. You can see it, it deflected off of the pocket there. So see what that does. Pitch that out right, so the friction. Yeah, it's just way too early. Not gonna be able to turn the corner on this type of condition. All right, so it wasn't too bad. In order to get that shape out of this ball, I'm having to do a lot with my speed and rotation, so which is fine. I think that does show you there's some versatility in the bowling ball. I think that in this area specifically, I would probably go to something that's a little bit cleaner through the fronts, more, something that's pearlized. I think in this area, I typically, on this shot, like to transition to a Cuda Pearl. So that I don't have to do quite so much work just to get the ball to get through the pin deck correctly. But, if you're bowling in something that you like the look you have, or you're just trying to get through a block or a game, and you need to get a little bit further left, the ball has the capability to do it. But surprisingly, I think that it looks okay. I didn't get around that one enough, and I even pitched it a little bit right. So yeah, that result doesn't surprise me. That was much better. But yeah, so I threw that one a lot better. Out of my hand. It was slightly faster than the previous couple shots. When I say slightly faster on the board, we're looking at 16.27 versus 16.05. There's a difference, but that just kind of shows you how speed sensitive in this zone and manipulative you're going to have to be able to make it shape correctly. But overall, not bad. I'm pretty surprised with it. So just for the heck of it, I'm not going to do anything different than what my typical shot would be. I'm going to throw it normal speed, normal hand position, just so we can see without me doing any adjustments to the ball what it actually would do here. Yeah, so I threw that pretty good. As you can see, by staying in my natural speed, the ball just doesn't have enough time on the lane. So big difference there. Okay, so that's the Brunswick Teal Rhino Pro. As you can see today in this video, the bowling ball had its comfort zone. When I was super far right at the track area, the ball was very conditional for me. As I jumped more towards the middle of the lane, kept the ball in the oil, it looked really good. And that is something that I have already seen out of the ball, the other two locations that I've thrown it in. It definitely needs oil in order to store energy because it is a lot earlier reading, and it definitely is more forward. So I think that for guys that have a higher ball speed, that want to be a little bit straighter with their angles and keep the ball in front of them, I think that this ball would be great for you. For guys that maybe are a little bit higher revs with lower ball speed, this ball is going to be very conditional. So it's not going to be something that you're going to be able to throw all night long. It's probably going to be a game one, maybe early game two ball, and then you're probably going to have to get out of it because it's going to not be able to store energy as probably the lane breaks down, and you start to see more early friction. And that's what I've actually seen out of the ball when I threw it in league. Early friction house, the ball started reading immediately, and it was just dead down lane. So, the ball definitely does need oil. I like that it's a little bit forward and I can keep my angles closed with it. But as you can see, if you needed to move left, like the ability to do that with this bowling ball is there. But as you also saw, as I got farther left, I went from throwing my typical ball speed about 17 and a half at times, down to 16 and having to create a lot of rotation. So, there is a lot of manipulation as I progress left and into an area that the ball doesn't, typically want to be in for this house shot condition and probably the bulk of house shot conditions. But overall, pretty satisfied, and I think that there is a place in my bag with this. I have a track stealth that I also have. That when I need something to open my angles a little bit more, I can go to my track stealth, my Cuda Pearl. If I want to keep my angles tight and keep the ball in front of me on, maybe a house that has a little bit more volume to the outsides, that's where I think this Brunswick Rhino Teal is going to shine. So if you like what you saw today, give it your local pro shop. You can order yours if the ball is out and released, or you can hit up any of the 3 10-back pro shop locations in New Philadelphia or Park Center Lanes, Canton, Ohio, and Triway. So, let us know what you guys think in the comments. And as always, we appreciate everybody. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you next time.